and I'm
Uh-huh.
looking at the new working class 0.3 inch Citizen.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, well, it's like the hookup tackle has like teased this for so
Yeah, it's
long.
like been in the background a couple times. That's where I heard about it.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like in the background, and now it's
I'm
gonna.
trying to get in there myself. I'm friends with Ben, so I'm sending them a package with my little D's in it soon. So
Oh man, yeah. This is not a bad price either. So you got 5 pack for $20. Drops on
that's a great
Sunday.
deal.
Yeah.
That's smart on their part because it's everything is going back. It used to be everything was huge. Now everything's finesse. Isn't that funny? Because all the huge baits aren't getting hit anymore. They want finesse stuff.
Oh man, every guy that throws swim baits has it in them to throw little micro
I
lures
know.
though
Isn't that
too.
funny?
It's so much fun though, especially like in my area, like up here in like the Black Hills of South Dakota. We have a lot of trout, and so
Oh yeah.
throwing BFS glides and little swim baits for trout is super fun.
That is like a huge thing coming out of Japan right now. Is all the finesse stuff. And I told my couple of my guys that's why I started doing the little D, my small one, because I'm like everyone's going small. I saw it 2 years ago. So what's your name? I'm sorry. Give me your full name and tell me a
Well,
little bit about yourself.
well, I'm Wyatt Byer, and so
One more time.
Wyatt Byer,
Wyatt. Okay.
and yeah, this is Garage Build Baits, and we talk to bait builders, and then I have the YouTube channel Buyer Lure Co. I'm trying to do more lure builds on there. It's what it started
Uh
out
huh.
as, but it's kind of regressed to
Do
like just
you
fishing
make your own
content.
line?
I make some lures. I don't have like anything super in production. I have this like cool walking like banana that I got to redo the mold for. But
Oh, cool.
no. But introduce yourself. Tell the people what you do.
I'm John John or John Cleghorn. Everybody calls me John John. Um, Kind of my story is I was a minister for 20 years, and then I had first cancer at 27, and they told me I'd never walk again because I have a collapsed inferior vena cava, which it's basically the main vein that connects your legs to your heart. And so I walk okay. I just deal with a lot of pain. Well, then 10 years almost to the day, I got leukemia. And it was just brutal. My body was kind of shot through all that. So I had to basically quit working. I was on full disability. And I've always been a fisherman. I fished since I was a little kid. Back when, I'm Generation X, our parents let us, leave it in the morning and we didn't show back up until the street lights came on. But we didn't even have street lights where I was from. So basically, we had to be home before dark. And so I'd leave and take me a couple sandwiches and I'd fish all day long, like literally go to local ponds. I didn't have a boat or anything, but we just fished from shore ponds all day long. And when it wasn't fishing season, I was hunting. So I grew up in Bright, Indiana. And so anyway, after doing 10 years, I did a food truck. I did all the behind the scenes stuff, set up the events, help do prep, anything I could do sitting. And then I had a heart attack in May of 2022, and I was like, I've got to do something. I can't do this physically; it's impossible. Everything I was doing was a volunteer anyway, so I started painting baits, and then I got connected with Wit at Curtec Customs, who's a great mentor to me, and I just started trying to make baits. And this is one of my first renditions. This is one of my first crawlers. And the reason I started doing crawlers is my dad, growing up, his favorite bait was a head and crazy crawler.
Yeah.
And I still have it. I couldn't find it today. I removed all my fishing stuff, but I have his original wooden white and red one. And I only do a few of these white and red ones. But that's kind of where I started. And I just love it. I mean, growing up, I would fish a ton, but I also make models and I would paint them with airbrushes. And so it just kind of took everything I enjoyed and really had a good time and just relaxed doing. and turned it into something that's, a hobby slash business. My wife owns the business and everything. I just do it for fun. I mean, I just have the time of my life. I go to shows, hang out with the guys, and yeah, it's a total blast. I'm a top water junkie. I mean, if anybody knows me, I've done crawlers for 3 years, literally, and tried to figure out, until I felt happy. I'm finally happy with my crawlers. And so I'm moving into, I've got my first wake. This is a really just a proto of it, but it's kind of come out here in January. I'm actually, if you want to later, I actually poured my first molds, literally my first ones. I got this done in time and I poured them. And if you want later, we can open them up and see what they look like. I have no idea. They may look like crap, but I did get that done. And I've got my first glide coming, the Gill Glide. And I also have a series, I'm calling it the Blue Collar, because this economy is killing everybody. It's killing me. It's killing my friends. So I'm doing a Blue Collar series. This is the three-piece swimmer. I've got a wake in it, and I also have a glide in it. It's all based off of this particular, let's see if you guys can see that up close, kind of this basic model. This is a proto, but, and we're going to open it up here, but it, all I have to do is basically pull this out, and I can put a one piece, make it a two piece, and then it becomes a glide, or you can get it as a three-piece swimmer, and also a wake. And the top price is going to be $120, which for a really solid glide, that's a smoking deal. And I'm in this not for money. I know a lot of guys, they want to crush and make a ton of money. I do it because I love it. I mean, I really love it. And I love the fish. I've got a pond in front of my house. We live on like 8 acres in the middle of Cincinnati. It's crazy. Like this one little area has a pond. And, I've got guys all the time that will say, hey, I got paint rash. I'll paint it for free. I just love this kind of whole dynamic. I love the community. And so I'm trying to do something at a price point that isn't going to kill us all. You know what I mean? So I'm calling it the Blue Collar series. And then I've got a glide. And I also have, this is the prototype. So I've got it kind of in pieces. But I'm also doing a shad glide along with the bluegill glide. So the real nice shad glide. Here's the master for it. So I don't cut my masters. I do them all in one piece, keep them in one piece, and then I cut the other pieces. But so I'm really trying to, build a brand versus just one or two baits. You know what I mean? So I get with something and then I work on it until I feel like it's great. Like my crawler line, I just did the Dragon this last year. That was really big at the show, the Gathering 5 or 6. Let's see, Ayo and Norm, they're YouTube guys. They were freaking out over this one. So that's kind of my latest, craziest, have fun bait. And of course, I dropped a little D recently too, which is the smaller version of the big D. But I'm finally happy with crawler, so I'm moving on to all the other
Yeah.
stuff. So.
Well, like you say, you started like crawlers 3 years ago. I feel like that's just kind of on the cusp when like they started like gaining popularity again.
That's true.
Because a lot of people have crawlers. Like Throwback has like the Chickadee and so on and so forth. Monka, all that.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of Monka, and I got compared to them, and I actually bought one finally, and I like them. And I think probably the radical difference with mine versus everybody else's is I use polycarbonate wings. And the blessing with that is my wings don't break or bend or snap or throw your crawler out of tune. So a lot of guys will have other brands of crawlers and they're having issues with them cartwheeling, or they'll go out of tune, or they'll catch a big fish and that wing will snap. And guess what? $15 for a brand new wing pack. So again, I do this for the fishermen. So I guarantee my wings for life. So you bend, break, or snap one of my wings, I send you a brand new set for free. I'm just fanatical about building, because my dad's crazy crawler I still have. I wanted to build something that lasted. And so I started out, I was using the, where did I put it? All the Mega Bass wings. But
Mm-hmm.
if you'll notice, and I'll do this on this, you get a big fish, that thing will bend
Yeah.
in a heartbeat. And on mine, it just flexes.
Mm-hmm.
So it won't bend, break, or snap on any of them. They all just flex. And so, when you get a big fish, it flexes, pops right back into place, and it's not an issue. So I think that's something really great. The other thing I do different is my crawlers. I get a crawler, and if you go past like a 6-to-1 or something, you get to 7-to-1, 8-to-1, and they're gonna cartwheel. Even the top brands, and I got so frustrated with that. So I test every bait myself on an 8-to-1 reel, and I go as fast as you possibly can, and they will not burn out or they will not cartwheel. And again, what I'm trying to do is make this for the fishermen, the guys that go out every day, cast, bust their humps when they get some time off, and they want a bait that works when they pull out our tackle box every time. And so I really work hard to tune mine so they are, you can literally, and I like that because when I'm using a crawler, I don't want it just crawl. I really want to work it. I want to speed it up sometimes. I want to pop it and snap it and do all kinds of fun stuff with it. And a lot of those other brands you can't do. They literally will cartwheel. And that's maddening.
Mm-hmm. So
So,
like
do you
how
fish crawlers much?
I don't really. I haven't had like much of a chance to. My fishing this year was um almost non-existent outside of I have this Airbnb experience where I take people trout fishing in my area. It's mainly what they want to
Oh
do.
yeah, the trout.
So I had one dude this past year that wanted to go bass fishing, and we went out on my kayak, and that was super sick. But mainly, like people want to chase after trout in this area. So besides doing a ton of trout fishing, like my bass fishing just like tanked. I didn't do a lot. And
Uh-huh.
I was gonna go out today with this dude and we were gonna throw some like TKs around and um stuff like that. And I was like, dude, I got too much going on. I can't get out there today. So hopefully the weather holds out and we can try maybe next week.
Oh, it literally snowed here. It's like 30 degrees today in Cincinnati, Ohio. So,
Oh man, that was like yesterday and the day before we were under a wind advisory. We were having, up to 40-mile-per-hour gusts and
where
like
are you again? What area?
up in the Black Hills, so like in the like Mount Rushmore area.
Oh, okay.
So we had like 20-mile-per-hour like sustained winds. It was our Wi-Fi sucked
Wow.
like yesterday and the day before.
That's pretty normal up there. It's really windy in that area, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And so I want to get a paddleboard, but I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna like try to be doing something. I'll just drift across the lake. And it's like I'm gonna
Well,
retire.
all you need's a sail, right?
Yeah, it's like I just need to retie real quick and just like yeah, because even with on the kayak, if you're doing like kind of like a drift with the wind around the lake,
Mm-hmm.
you maybe get a couple casts out of area because you're just going.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's really windy here today, but I've always wanted to find a place where I could trout fish and do it. And I've just there's a Brookville Lake has a area where it's like the runoff from the lake. They have where they release the dam and stuff, and they release a bunch of trout there. I need to try that, but I'm such a bass fishing junkie that it's hard for me to do anything else. When I get to a pond, the only thing I think about is bass.
Yeah, I tell all the people that I take, I'm like, my trout fishing is very much kind of bass, like finesse bass fishing oriented, because it's like
Right.
it's downsized like bladed jigs and little finesse paddle tails and little tiny finesse craw baits and stuff like that. Little glide baits. It's just a lot
That's
more fun that
awesome.
way. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
more
I
fun.
actually bought this last year for the first time. I bought two baitcaster setups that are finesse, like the really high end Shimano from Ben at the Hookup Tackle. That's honestly where I buy 99% of my non-garage made stuff is from Ben at the Hookup. And they just, he's, I don't know if you follow him a lot, but he's just one of those guys. He is on the cutting edge. He knows, like, I just got this new gill they put out. Did you see it from last week?
I don't know if I did. I follow
Oh
them, but I
man,
don't
I
know if
should
I
have brought
seen it.
the package is literally sitting in the mailbox. It's this new gill that it's made off of an offshoot of Imakatsu, and honestly, they make some of my best favorite crawlers. They have the all wood Imakatsus, and when I started making my crawlers, I kind of looked at theirs because I like the size, and I have a wood one. I should have brought it. It looks like a bluegill, and man, I've caught so many fish on that over my period of fishing in the last probably 6 or 7 years. But they, anyway, they just came out with this new gill that's incredible.
Is that the Wasamono Gill Soft 130?
Yeah, the Gill
But
Soft 130,
yeah,
man.
but Imakatsu. Yeah, it
Yeah,
looks cool.
yeah. Jeffrey was using it in Japan, and I was like, so I ordered like 5 or 6 of them. I should take you when I'm done and let you look at my shop. I'm like really, I have a sickness. So I buy a bunch for myself. I tend to sell some too, just because I try to stay on the edge and know what's happening, and buy and sell some stuff to afford my addiction.
Mm-hmm.
I eBay. My wife would divorce me if I didn't pay for it myself.
Mm-hmm. Well, all the JDM stuff is really cool, and I feel like at the Hookup Tackle they do a good job of staying like current with the JDM market. Their Japan series where they go BFS trout fishing for the
Who's this? Oh, with Ben?
yeah at the Hookup.
Yeah.
Yeah, their trout series is really sweet.
Yeah, they really do a great job. And I've actually got a friend over there. He owns kkjapanlure.com, and he ships to the US for 15 bucks. So a lot of times if Ben doesn't have it, he'll have it. And I'll get some stuff in that nobody has a lot of times. So, and particularly around here going pond fishing, a lot of these guys aren't using the stuff I'm using. So I just clean up. I went out with my friends a few years back on Lake Erie, actually, and we couldn't go on the main lake. And so we went bass fishing in one of the, little outlet ponds. And we fished for 2 days. I caught like 48 bass, and the total they caught together was like 5.
Mm-hmm.
They kept getting mad at me. I'm like, they're saying where I was in the boat. And so I'd move, and, and they're like, oh, it's your lure. So I give them a lure,
Yeah.
It's just like anything, you do it enough and you get to the point where you're like, oh, I can do this really well. And there's something about getting out on the water, and it's the same way being in my deer stand is just a really special thing with God, nature, and just being out there, being at peace, and fishing or hunting. It's such an incredible thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like hunting is kind of taking the back seat for me because like I grew up really spoiled, like from South Dakota here, lived on a ranch, can literally
Oh,
go
wow.
in my backyard, fill my deer tag, get my limit
That's
of
incredible.
yeah, get my limit of pheasants and be set. But
I wish.
yeah, out in this area I'm at right now in the Black Hills, the tags are really hard to draw versus where I grew up it was pretty much guarantee you get a tag.
Yeah. Yeah. Since I've gotten older, I've lost a couple spots, just people get tired of people hunting or whatever. And I've killed some record book bucks just being in these little small parcels out in Indiana. Or I've killed a few in Chicago as well, and in Illinois, and just had great spots. But they sell their property, or someone does something stupid, and then I just can't hunt. So I haven't hunted in the last probably couple of years, and it kills me. I've got all this insanely expensive equipment I don't even use anymore because there's just no place to do it. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
almost becomes and I hate to say this, but hunting has really become a rich man's sport. I mean, you got to pay for places, you got to pay for leases, and having property, it's so expensive, man. It's just unaffordable for the most middle class guys anymore. And I grew up hunting and fishing, just local areas, and now a lot of those people don't let you hunt or fish anymore, and it's sad because that was such a part of who I was as a child, growing up in the hills or the woods. So, but I bet out there's plenty of places to fish, isn't there?
Yeah, we got some really so like this area that I'm in is super underrated for trout fishing,
Uh-huh.
and we have a lot of we have a lot of streams that connect to different lakes. There's quite a few lakes out here with wide variety of fish. Um, but yeah, like I feel like South Dakota as a whole is pretty underrated for fisheries, just because a lot of a lot of times, so like smallmouth fishing gets like outshined by our walleye fishing and stuff like
Oh,
that.
wow. Smallmouth is a blast, man, because top water with a smallmouth is like fighting a shark, man. They're a blast to catch, aren't they?
Dude, I've never caught one.
Are you serious?
My girlfriend's caught a 4 pounder right next to me, and I've not caught one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was super stoked. I was freaking out. I was like, "This is the biggest smallmouth I've ever seen." I was super jacked, and uh, yeah, I just had a memory pop up of the picture of the smallmouth she caught, and I was like, "You remember this fish?" It was because it was from quite a while ago when we were still in
Uh-huh.
college, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, a lot of our fishing gets well, and the fishing out here, the trout fishing like eclipses and like overshadows like the bass fishing. And when people come out here, they want to go trout fishing. So
Sure.
the focus on conservation out here is trout versus, trying to grow the biggest northern strain bass that we can.
Which is crazy because at least I've heard that if you um, want giant bass, you have to have trout. Like I've heard that over and over again. So that surprises me that you guys don't have a lot of large. I mean, are there big bass out there?
Yeah, so the biggest I caught last year was out of my kayak, and I caught a 4 pounder on a
Uh huh.
Savage Gear like pulse tail trout.
Oh yeah, that's a great bait.
So yeah, it was a good northern strain bass, and that's same lake we were gonna go out to today and throw some like TKs,
Uh huh.
and so there's like good fish in there. Sometimes you got to weed through pike, and
Oh, I didn't think about that being that
yeah,
far north. Yeah.
yeah, but there's also so you could weed through a lot of like small pike, or you could catch just a monster like 30 to 40 inches.
Oh
So
wow.
that would
Do
be
they have muskie there too, or is it just pike?
so like here in South Dakota, we have there's one lake around me that has tiger muskie that used to be stocked there, and then over on the eastern side of the states, there's a couple lakes that are specifically managed for muskie.
Oh
So,
wow.
not around me, but like I know, like Minnesota, Wisconsin, huge for muskie fishing.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I went with my best friends one time. We went up to wherever they have that big muskie, the whole, like, it's like a statue. It's like the muskie capital. It's somewhere in Wisconsin, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. And we went up there, and my buddy caught a 44-inch, and I caught a 28-inch. And then the two other guys went with us that they didn't catch anything. And it's like the fish of a thousand casts, they say, because you have to work so hard to get them. So,
Hmm.
but I think it'd be cool if you're in a place where you're fishing, and you're fishing for bass, but you might have the opportunity to catch a huge giant muskie. What a cool thing to do. What a cool place to be.
Yeah, like last year I was throwing oh, or not last year. couple months ago, I had the opportunity to go out and fish, and was throwing the 6 cents draw, like the 9 inch one,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and so I was fishing it slow and like gliding it super wide, and had it. It was sitting, and so it's a slow float, so
Yeah.
it
Mm-hmm.
was coming up, and I had this big old blow up on it. I was like, and there's huge pike, there's big bass at this lake, and I was super excited, and it was like, so it's a 9 inch bait, and the pike was, I don't know, maybe 16 inches. It was tiny.
Oh wow! I thought you were telling me you hooked into a giant.
Oh, I wish it was a little like I was excited because it was a super slow day. I didn't catch
Uh-huh.
anything until I like really slowed down and had to switch from swim baits to conventional to get something. So
Yeah,
it is
that's
what it
cool.
is.
Well, Hallelujah just put out. He just put out some new trout. Have you seen that the new one he just put out?
Yeah, I've been talking to Nick, and he says that you've been like a big mentor for him too, with showing him how to do some stuff. And yeah, he was showing. I was seeing his trout stuff. We talked about it when I had him on the podcast, and um, yeah, I'm gonna get a few from him
He's a
and
stellar
go out
dude,
there.
man. I really like him. We're working on something. There's this new way that you can take a 3D printer and you can print on mesh and you can print 3D print on it and it holds inside the mesh and you can print scales. And so I'm working on something with him to put it into a soft plastic so it you can see the scales underneath with the mesh, but it's also stronger at the joint because of that mesh and scale combo. So who knows where it'll lead? But I call it dragon skin. I actually that's how I made my dragon. Is I took the mesh 3D printed mesh and I actually put it around my master, and that's how I came up with the everyone's like, how'd you do that? Did you? I was like, no, I used 3D printed scales, so and put them around my master. That's how I came up with it. So I call it dragon skin, but I think it may be a very innovative way to put it in a soft plastic without having to do and actually make the bait better, and stronger. So who knows what we'll end up. But I always love thinking of new ways to do things that makes a bait last longer or make it better. You know what I mean?
hmm Are you a big like Game of Thrones fan?
I am. I've seen it and I loved most of it. I don't watch a lot of stuff with nudity, so I had to fast forward a lot. But I love the dragons. I like.
Mm.
Something about dragons. I think there's something else. There's a book I listened to a while back, and it was all about them riding with their dragons, and the dragons could communicate with them. And I thought that was just the coolest thing in the world. So that's kind of how that was born. Was off of that book, and then seeing that mesh and scale pattern. I was like, this is a dragon skin right here. So,
Yeah, because I see like one of your posts and it says like Regal or whatever, and I'm like,
yeah, I
that's
named
like
them
gives
after Game of Thrones dragons.
yeah, I
Yeah,
was like, it gives me Game of Thrones vibes. Yeah, a
that's
little
exactly why I did it. Yeah,
yeah,
the
a
the
little
scales, the book, and then most of the show. I didn't. The first couple seasons were really raunchy, so I didn't watch much of them. But the other ones were pretty, a lot less nudity and stuff. So I saw
yeah
a lot of those. So yeah,
yeah, but
you a big Game of Thrones guy?
so I read the books and watched the series. The books are really good. The series is pretty good, minus I know a lot of people, myself included, have like issues with the last season or the last
Oh
couple
my
seasons
gosh.
and
I mean,
how it
Jon
ended.
Snow went nowhere. He did everything right, and he went nowhere. He's back on the wall. That is the dumbest ending I've ever read in my entire life. I was so mad with that because I think we all look up to guys who stand up for what's right, no matter the consequences. And those are the people you want to follow. And to put a guy like that back on the wall is just ridiculous. And the
Yeah.
kid, the brother that was the what is he, the one-eyed ray, that was the dumbest. I there was no point of that to me. It was so stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
love Peter Dinklage's role. I really like him. Like he is such a good actor, and he was probably between him and Jon Snow and the guy who was the he was at the wall with him, the heavyset guy,
yeah, yeah.
who, you think, oh, he's a wimp, he's a coward, but he goes on to help save the day. That, but Peter Dinklage's ability to act is just insane, isn't it?
Mhm. Yeah, there's a couple characters that like keep you going in that series, and some of them have there's some characters where they have great character development, then there's others where the character just tanks.
I know, right? And they're just like the other one that I really thought had a cool turnaround was the brother of the queen. Well, I'm spacing on his name. The one who got his hand cut off,
Yeah.
and he was best friends with the tall blonde lady.
Mhm.
I really liked his turn. Like I hated that he died with her because he really had grown past her. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I thought that was really cool to see him go from being so self-absorbed and so um, caught up on himself to someone who cared for people and did the right thing. And that he died with her, I thought was a terrible ending too, as well. And I hated that the not the mountain, but the other guy had to die at the end too, who killed his brother, the mountain, the
Yeah.
dog. I thought that was a bad call because he was really something special. And why didn't they take the girl with the faces, the sister?
Mhm.
I can't think of her name, and do a spinoff is beyond me. I mean, they wouldn't even need her anymore because of the faces, right? She just need to pop up once or twice, or two or three times a season, and then it could be everybody else because I think they should do a whole spinoff on the faces, the No Face God, or what was it, No Face God, or the
I don't know. It's something like that. It's been a while since
yeah.
I've read the books and like actually watched the
Yeah,
series.
I thought she could really have become. I thought that really could have become its own thing. You know what I mean? So, and the new series, I just think it's not very good by comparison. Have you seen the new series, House of the Dragon? Or
I haven't seen it. I've heard some mixed things, but
it's not great
yeah.
by comparison. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm
Anyway,
I'm like a super huge nerd, and so like my brothers are too. So there's cool stuff coming out with like um, Lord of the Rings here in the future. But I've
oh,
heard,
is there?
yeah, I've heard like Rings of Power is just kind of trash.
It isn't very good. I mean, they spent what, $1 billion to film the stupid thing. It's just boring.
Yeah,
There's no, like, they keep jumping. There's like 30 or 40 different main characters. You can't keep up. And I think that's hard when you have like 8 heroes, and then, it's just hard to keep up. And Sauron, I thought, was kind of crappy. So I don't know. My favorite, right, has recently, and they canceled it, and I was so sad. I'm in sci-fi. Was The Expanse? Have you ever seen The Expanse?
mm-mm.
Oh, the first 3 seasons um, are phenomenal, and it was a good book series. And it's all about, Mars is its own planet, and then you have the outer realm of people who live, kind of on space stations and stuff, and they're, their own group of people, and Mars and Earth go to war, and it's really cool. It's a good series. I'm a nerd too. My kids are super nerds. My kids are gamers, like hardcore. Like they do not fish or hunt. They play video games, and that's it. I think that's just generation. They don't go outdoors very much.
So with Lord of the Rings, they have two upcoming um, movies. So one's going to be animated, and that's The War of the Rohirrim, and then
Okay.
they have The Hunt for Gollum because that's its own like huge thing in the Lord of the Rings lore.
I did not know that. So the first one you mentioned, the War of the what?
The Rohirrim.
And how does that connect?
Uh,
Is the Rohirrim, is he the one with the king that has that guy talking his ear the whole time?
yeah. So it's gonna be Rohan and you know the the big horse. Um, has King Theoden, and they're the like horse lords or whatever. So
Uh-huh.
it's gonna be around Rohan and stuff like that. I'm not
Oh,
sure
cool.
exactly what's all gonna come with that, but then they also have um, the Hunt for Gollum, which between um, between Gandalf talking to Bilbo or Gandalf talking to Frodo, and between that time to when Gandalf returns, there's this huge space of a couple years where Gandalf is like searching for Gollum and trying to find information, and I don't know. It's a huge story. Like there's a
Oh,
lot
cool.
to it. Yeah, huge nerd.
So between Bilbo and Frodo is the period?
No, so it's between like when um Gandalf like gives Frodo the ring,
Uh-huh.
like after Bilbo's birthday party,
Okay.
and then it's the period of time like between when he gives him the ring and when he comes back to
Oh, okay.
and yeah, so yeah, huge nerd.
That's great. Well, you want me to open these molds?
Yeah, let's check it out, dude.
I have no idea how they're going to look, so let's see. Let's do the body first, head first. This is the head. I think this is the head. This may be the body. I can't tell. Do you pour your own molds?
Yeah, I do. And like I have this top water banana. I'll send you one. I gotta redo the
Oh, that'd be
mold
great.
for it to make it a lot easier
Oh, that turned out.
to where I
This
could just
turned
have
out really
everything.
good.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah. So that's the head,
Mhm.
and of course it's got the scruff stuff on it. But that's the head. That turned out really good, actually.
Is this the mold that got messed up over the weekend?
Yeah. Uh huh. Yeah, these turned out great.
So was it your silicone pour that got messed up, or is it your first
Yeah,
resin
I should have
pour?
used a better. Like I should have used wood. Um, in my. I think I forgot to put in the um, screw there, or the screw eye thing there. Those turned out great, man. Look at the fin on that.
Yeah, that
Turned
does
out
look good.
really good. Oh man, these are going to be great. This is for the blue collar, either the three piece, and then here's the one piece to make it a glide.
So with that blue collar series, you can just remove that pin and it'll be a swimmer or a glide.
I'll sell them separately as swimmers or glides.
Oh, I gotcha.
I guess I could do that. Just sell the body. That's a good idea, actually. Oh man, that turned out perfect. Except for the flashing, but that just comes off. That looks really. Let me pop some of this flashing off here so you can see. I got my little knife here for this very reason. Um, what resin do you use normally?
So I've just been using uh, what is it like specialty chemical or whatever. It's
Okay.
stuff you could get off Amazon, and then I have some micro balloons. But yeah, I gotta redo the molds so it's easier to pour them and it's easier to just like they're ready to go. Just have you put your screw eyes in there, stuff like that. Because before
Yeah.
I
If
was
you need help with molds, let me know. I can help you.
oh
Um,
perfect.
and I'll even do your molds for you if you want me to. I'm really easy. I like to help guys if I can. So yeah, there's the one piece body.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's got the owner's 360 swivel. So let me pop this flashing off, and then I'll show you how they look together. I need to screw the screw eyes in more. I leave them out a little bit so it's easier to do the molds. That's one of the things I learned from last weekend. But is to talk to man. You got some. There's some great guys in this group that I'm in. They call it the Legion of Doom. But Hallelujah's in there. Andy from Superpotamus. He does a lot of computer work and stuff, and he's also a high-end. He does high-end prints if you want him to. He can make you masters and everything. And Brothers Brim is in there. I don't know if I'll be able to get that piece off. Chris at Brothers Brim, he's a good buddy of mine. He does have you seen those xenomorphs?
Yeah, those are sick.
Like rats. Chris and Andy did those together, and I took that to my last show. I always try to take another maker to when I do shows. But yeah, they did those, so that's gonna go in there like that. That piece is gonna come off. I have to cut that with a bandsaw, but that looks really good. I mean, I'm really pleased with that.
Yeah, it looks like your fins filled in really good too.
Yeah, they did. Fins were perfect on these. I tried these new, and I'll send you a link. There's these new mold boxes I tried on Amazon, because before I was using wood mold boxes, and I was just never happy with them. And I bought these, like, I think it was like $15 or something, and you can take the mold box and you can make it bigger or smaller, and you use those butterfly clips. And man, it made these turn out just phenomenal. I'll send you a link, you can post it. And then here's the big glide. This one leaked a little bit, which I usually don't have leaks, so I don't know what I did there. But this is the glide. This in the blue collar version. This is the regular glide. These will be probably 150 or so, depending. Oh man, that turned out fantastic. There's looks really good. That's got the flashing on it, of course.
All that comes off easy, and you can sand it down real easy too.
Yeah, this is going to take so little work on these to do. And then there's the body, the bottom. Wow, I'm really stoked, man.
Yeah, those are sweet,
dude. I got them done so I could show you. I was hoping I could get these done so I could show you on the show here on the pod. Now, what got you into the podcast part of it?
So I've always been fishing since I was really little. Got into swim baits here recently, and then, I always followed swim bait people, but never like bought stuff. Just kind of admiring from a distance.
Sure.
And then got into swim baits and was making my own lures too, which was a lot of fun, doing, little jerk baits, some rat wake baits, stuff like that. And I just wanted to connect with people, talk to people. I love talking to people, love meeting people, and so what I really liked, when I did sales, people were super interesting. Didn't like selling people stuff, but it was fun.
It's hard to be honest and sell people stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. But it was always fun talking with people, and so when I was doing sales, I was doing lawn and pest when I lived in Florida, and so
what was it again?
Like termite, lawn, and pest services.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I was like in people's houses, going through all of like their entire home, making sure they don't have pests, making sure they don't have termites, and like people just had like really cool stuff. Met a lot of really cool people. Wasn't very good at sales, but enjoyed traveling around
and chatting to people and stuff.
Yeah, so I like talking with people, and I like making baits. So thought I'd give the whole podcast thing a go, and I've really enjoyed doing it. there's been some really cool people on the show so far, and just gonna try to keep it going because it's a lot of work, and I'm pretty busy with my job and everything too.
What else do you do besides the pod?
So I do this podcast, Garage Build Baits, and then I have a small YouTube channel, Buyer Lure Co, and do fishing and fishing content, and I'm trying to get it back into making more baits. I have some weird ideas of lures I want to do.
Uh
Like the
huh.
banana's kind of weird, but it's fun.
Sure.
Um,
Well, does it work?
yeah, it walks pretty good. I've gotten blown up on it, but I haven't
That's all
dedicated.
that matters, man. Bass will eat. Honestly, bass will eat anything. I mean, I've seen them eat like gummy worms, and you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
it's just you got to find a pond that's got or a lake that has good fishing in it, and they'll eat almost anything. Like Superpotamus Andy, he's doing one, and he's gonna put it out. I'll have it at my table at the New England Fishing Expo. A hippo that's a popper. It's like got the mouth open, and it's gonna be insane. It is so fun. And I think I had a piece of resin stuck to my nose, man. Oh my gosh. Um, must have got splashed. Um, and there's a lot of fun ideas out there. I'm actually working on a crawler that's a duckling,
yeah.
and I'll share it here first. The back feet are the back feet are the actual wings. And so it looks like a duckling that's running away, that's scared, that can't find its mom. And the same with a baby loon, and the bass and muskie are gonna freak out because it literally looks like a duckling or a baby loon chick that has lost their mom, and they're kind of scared and they're fleeing. And
Hmm.
so the back feet literally almost kick like wings. And I think it's gonna sell like crazy. But the fun stuff to me, that's like the innovative stuff, like the banana thing. I think that's so cool, man. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. It's fun. It works well. And the lake that I was at, because I fished it a good handful of times. Some of the lakes that I fished at were like ponds are really hard to fish at. They're super pressured. Uh, but the lake I was fishing where I've got blow ups, that could have been anything. That could have been like a bluegill, a trout, a pike, a bass. They no telling what it was.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
What?
Yeah, I've got a bird that I made, and I was trying to make a crawler out of it, and it's actually a walking bait. It turned into that it's a walking bait. So sometimes those happy experiments turned into something amazing.
Yeah, and I went full bore into the banana idea. I think maybe a little too much to where I have to have. I think if I had the belly white, it would make more of a difference with my fishing. At least that's my mentality, because otherwise it's yellow and has like banana bruising spots on it.
I love that, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it's on a. Oh, there's pictures on my main Instagram, the Buyer Lure Co, where I also do YouTube like videos, stuff like that. It's all over on that channel. Um,
Okay, you have to send me a link because I would love to see it.
what's the what's the guy that builds the hippo popper?
Oh, Andy, Superpotamus. Kobe Bringers is in it. Doobie Swim Baits is in it. Um, just a great group of people and the cool thing I love about it, and I'm in a few groups like that. There's one with Sack Pig. Have you interviewed Michael from Sack Pig?
Dude, me and him have been back and forth so many times trying to get a
Oh my goodness.
time down,
Uh
cause
huh.
like his schedule seems weird. Like my availability is pretty limited, and yeah, so we've been back and forth trying to get a time down, And me and Kyle Gracely, I was like, well, what if we did next Thursday? And he's like, on Thanksgiving? He's like, I could make that work. And I'm like, never mind, I can't do Thanksgiving. Like, my girlfriend will kill me if I'm doing that.
This is the first year I think we're just doing me and my kids and my wife. So my mom moved to Tennessee. She got remarried, and then our brother and sister do their own thing. So I think it's going to be just us for the first time. So yeah, but Michael's awesome. Michael has he has very strong opinions, but for good reason. You know, like he's super opinionated, but for good reason. Like he's tested it. Like he has a way he tests things and does things, and it's almost like a system. He's really gifted with that kind of thing. Like his new rat, the one that floats up there, is like a soft plastic one.
Hmm.
Like he's done and shown the testing online. He does such a good job with all that. He's very meticulous. So that's really cool. Mike will be a great person to interview. I'm trying to think who else. Demo, Dave Moss, Demo Customs. He does kind of unique baits. You and him might be a great fit to collab. Um, I'll send you his link. He's an amazing guy too, Dave Moss. He lives here in Cincinnati, and he does a lot of hand carved specialty type baits that are really cool that catch fish. I mean, they look. You go, oh, that's an interesting way to look at a bait, but it catches fish. I mean, he's got one he calls the blob, and he does all these cool ones that are really neat.
Hmm. Yeah, all my best bait ideas come like in the shower, cause I, cause I'm like I'm thinking about stuff, and I had um I had somebody on, and like their episode will drop later, and they do some fly tying and whatever, and they made like a little taco fly, and I was like, well, you could do a hot dog, and then I was thinking I could do a hot dog, and carve it out of wood and oops, carve it out of wood, and it would be this kind of weird thing. But um, well, it's like Caesar from Toxic. I think he did like the buffet baits where they did the pickle
Yeah, someone did.
stuff
I
like
think it was
that.
Blanket that did the corn. Was it
Yeah.
Blanket that did the corn? You know what you could do with the hot dog is make it a jitterbug
Oh, that'd be fun.
because it's kind of shaped that way. You just put a lip on it,
Mhm.
on the end, and it kind of looks like a. Because I've got quite a few jitterbugs that are jointed, and they're longer. They're that long. Some of them. So you could do that as a hot dog. That'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be fun. And then I got this idea for a crawler where uh the body is a Canadian goose, and then the crawler wings are the wings.
Uh huh.
So something like that.
Yeah, I thought about doing a. I know tuna fishermen use these flying fish,
Mhm.
and I've thought about doing like a crawler style flying fish, where I take some kind of synthetic rubber or something, and do like a heavy rubber in the front, and then do like a synthetic, almost like a latex that goes back to the back of the fish, so it looks like it's a flying fish. So there's a lot of cool things out there, a lot of great opportunities.
Yeah, and I don't know, part of it's just having fun with it, and I think some of the coolest stuff is when you try to do something different, like the polycarbonate wings. Like I don't see anybody else doing that really.
Yeah, yeah. I had a preliminary patent on them, but I don't anymore. But it ran out. But you know, I think it's like anything. Once you do something, it's a great idea. People try to steal it, so I put a preliminary patent on it. And fortunately, I haven't had anybody copy it. But if you do a crawler, let me know. I'll hook you up with the wings.
Oh, so that'd be sweet. Yeah, it's just and part of it is just having time to do it. Like I'm pretty busy with my job, and then trying to do other projects. Freaking working on cars like after this, so
Oh
it's
wow,
busy.
what cars are you working on?
Fucking my Chevy shit box, like,
What is
uh,
it?
it's a Chevy Cruze, and um, they're just notorious for having issues. So
How
just
old is it?
it's a 2014. So
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like
oh,
classic cars.
nope, nope. Just yeah, just my my daily driver. So It's finally warm enough. Well, it hasn't been driven daily, like for a couple of days now, but yeah, it's if it's not one thing, it's the other. There's just so much stuff always
Well, the good
going
thing,
on.
I'll send you the link for these guys, but like Andy at Superpotamus, he does designs. He can do like one of the things he did is he scans baits, gets them scanned, and then he gets them symmetrical, and then you can do some design work. He uses ZBrush, I think, and I'm working with him on my duckling and a few other things. So he might be a good fit for something like that. Then basically, he'll even do the mold, the master for you, like the negatives. I don't
Hmm.
know if you ever seen the negative, but it's basically the the bait printed, kind of 3D, and then you just pour your silicone over top, and that makes your mold. So you just pull that off, and then you can make your molds that way. So if you get a negative, um, it's something simple. So, it's a little pricier, but you're going to get a perfectly symmetrical bait, that kind of thing. And then the other person I really encourage you to talk to is Chris at Brothers Brim. He's in the military. He's actually in the Army. He's really been through it. I mean, his story is incredible. But he's one of the guys doing the xenomorphs, and he's just an incredible guy. You would really love talking to him. His story alone is just, it's insane. I won't tell his story for him. I'll leave that up to him, but he's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal human being. So he might be somebody fun to talk to. You, Chris at Brothers Brim.
Hmm. Yeah, and I follow them. So is the tail on the dragon, is that one of the xenomorph like tails?
Yeah, actually, Chris did those tails for me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I was like, what do I do for a tail? And I'm like, I saw a xenomorph. I was like, I have to have your xenomorph tails. So they're incredible. I mean, just the detail. It really looks like a dragon tail. So, and he's dropping the mini Xeno. I'm actually going to have some at my show in New England. And if you guys don't know, there's a New England Fishing Expo, and it's just outside of Worcester, Massachusetts, and it is an incredible show. I think it's the best show I go to. I haven't been to the Classic. I'm going to do that this year with Elude. Have you talked to Lendl at Elude?
No, dude, there's this
Okay.
whole list of people that I want to
Oh
talk
yeah,
to.
yeah. I know a lot of these guys. So Lendl's great. I think we're going to do a table together. Daniel at Clickbait, another phenomenal maker. Wayne at Universe, they don't make baits, but they sell them. He's great to talk to. There's a lot of great people out there. Gus, have you talked to Gus at Swimbait Culture?
Mm-mm.
Oh
But I
yeah, Gus is great to talk to too.
but
He
I
just
always get in on those raffles though.
Oh yeah, yeah. He just moved recently, so um, anyway, I can connect you with all those guys. I think probably one of my strengths is I'm good at relationships, and
Hmm.
I know a lot of guys, and I just try to be kind, man. I like with if anybody, I don't have any secrets. If anybody asks me anything, I'm honest with them, and just try to be helpful and kind. And that, I feel like, for every person that kind of takes advantage of that, there's 10 ways it comes back. You know what I mean? So I think it's really cool to be able to be in a community that really cares for each other and wants what's best. Like this Legion of Doom guys, which is Brothers Brim, Superpotamus, Kobe Bringers, Doobie Bates, and Hallelujah, Nick. Man, what a great group of guys. Chris and Andy and I, brothers and Superpotamus, we probably talk the most on our group chat. But like I was having trouble with these molds, so I sent it to Andy, and he looked at it. He's like, "Oh, you need to unscrew your screw eyes a little further." It's just little things like that that can really make a difference. Where guys aren't being competitive, but they're really pushing each other to be their best and successful. I think that is one of the best things I've gotten out of doing this bait thing. Like even Whit at Kurtek, you should talk to him. Whit, he's a super introvert, so it'll be hard to pin him down. But he is so knowledgeable about, like, if I'm ever having a trouble with the mold, like it's not turning out right, or it's expanding too much, or he knows everything when it comes to that. Um, and that community, I mean, I just feel very blessed to have this group of guys that, just like you, Wyatt, where it's just like we're good guys that want to do what's best. And particularly in this day and age, I feel like men in general, we don't have any, the closeness has gone away. Like the guys that are my neighbors, it just hasn't been the same since COVID. But having these communities has been just a life's blessing for me, because having those connections is really important, particularly for guys. You know what I mean? We don't stand out and drink beer in the garage anymore, but or it may be across the country, but that connection is real and solid and needed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really important. So Whit at Curtek's a good guy to talk to too, if you can pin him down. I don't know if he'll go on a podcast or not.
Yeah.
He's a super introvert.
Well, that's been one of the toughest parts is like everybody has their own schedules. Everybody's like doing, their different things, and like I'm doing all my different stuff. So it's hard to get people pinned down. But yeah, everybody that you talk to is super cool. Like I just had an episode with a couple episodes like Brent from Wheelie Pete's is super cool, and Austin from Sensei Swim Baits is super cool.
Oh
And
yeah, Austin's great. I like
yeah,
Austin a lot.
yeah, Nick from Hallelujah is funny dude. Like,
Nick's awesome, man.
yeah.
He's a rock and roll guy too.
Okay, so like with the past gathering, I know some people like didn't get like the vulgar display of power like esque theme, but I thought that was super cool. I'm like a metal and a rock head, so
Oh yeah, I thought that was cool. Yeah, I still have my little pass because I thought it was so cool looking.
yeah, like some people didn't get it, and I'm like, it's like, man, this just kind of fits into like the core of what swim baiting was, is like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
And let's
like
be honest,
skater
we have
culture and stuff like that.
this social media thing has been a blessing in some ways, but it's also been a curse. You got all these guys sitting on their mama's couches, you know what I mean, that just want to share their awful negative opinion. And what's the point? What good does that do for anybody? Like, I never post anything negative to anybody. Like, I'm the guy that's always like, great bait, that looks awesome. Like, there's so much negativity that people that are just unhappy with themselves. And so those people spread it like a disease. And I think we've got to spread the other side, which is the good. You know what I mean? There's so much negativity that's ridiculous. There's no reason for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I always like on my YouTube channel, like my kind of philosophy if I'm responding to something negative is kill them with kindness, because I've had some negative feedback on stuff, and I don't know whether it's my appearance or whatever, because at one point in time I had like my beard was longer, I had like really long hair,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, this guy was I had this like tip about like how you could get your kids into fishing, and this dude commented, it's like it doesn't look like you're supposed to be around kids.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like that's kind of hurtful, but it's
That's
also
brutal,
funny.
man.
It's hurtful and it's funny, and I was like I don't know how to respond to this, and I
I
was
know, man. That's brutal.
yeah, but I mean, with my job right now, I can't have like long beard or long hair, and I'm losing my hair
Uh,
anyway, so it doesn't even matter.
yeah, I'm too old, man. I'm 50. I can't even, like, my wife cut it, and she cut it way short. I'm used to having it longer, and she said, babe, your hair's so thin at the top now. I'm like, don't say that, man. I'm
Yeah,
getting old, so
yeah,
I
my
actually got some good news. I'm actually getting with my two cancers, I gained a ton of weight, and I've been trying to get the gastric sleeve. They just okayed it. So I'm actually going to get the sleeve, so they'll be thin and pretty again.
yeah, my dad had cancer, and
Oh yeah,
so yeah, that's always hard. That's really hard news to get. Like
yeah,
I I don't know. I guess it's something that I have to like really look out for once I get a little bit older. So I guess we'll see what happens.
yeah. My big thing is like they had me on prednisone and hydrocortisol for years, and I just gain weight like crazy. And, um, I gained like 150 pounds between the two cancers from all the prednisone and all the, being inactive because I wasn't able to do, with my legs all jacked up. So I'm pretty stoked, man. I um, get the surgery and hopefully, be healthy. I don't care how I look at this point. I'm old and ugly now, but at least I'll be around for my grandkids, and maybe they'll be the ones that like to fish versus their parents. Take the grandkids fishing, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's
So
when my nieces and nephew come out here. That's it's like we. I was like telling my brother, and my brother used to be big into fishing too, but he's getting busy and whatever. It's like we gotta take your kids fishing. Like I can take them to spots where we'll just catch, green sunfish, but every cast will
yeah,
catch a little green sunfish.
and that's the key I think for kids to love is they have to catch something. They go out there and they're bored for 2 hours not catching anything. That's brutal. Nobody wants to fish then. The people who I find that love to fish usually their first few experiences they actually caught fish. It doesn't matter the size, but it's just catching something. Otherwise, you're bored out of your mind.
Mm-hmm. It's like one of my earliest memories of fishing is out on the ranch. There's this dam, and my grandpa stocked bullheads in it because they like to eat bullheads.
Oh, okay.
And thinking back, a little bit gross because we'd catch all these bullheads and we'd make a big fish fry.
Sure.
Uh, but I've seen so many cows just take a big dump in that dam that I was like, that's a little gross thinking back, but yeah, just catching bullhead after bullhead after bullhead.
Oh, well, I never like bullhead. Are they very? Do they get very big?
Not really, like
Yeah,
I don't
I
know,
didn't. I thought they were kind
not
of a
like
trash
that.
fish. Yeah,
Yeah, they are. They're like a rough fish. They're kind of trashy. They're
we always ate channel cat. Like if
yeah.
we were going to eat catfish, we'd eat channel cats. And actually, as I've gotten older and I have a little more money, those Opelousas out of I forget. They're out of like Cajun area Opelousas catfish. Dude, that is the sweetest tasting not catfish fish I've ever had. So it's really good. But I like channel cat too. When they're young, they get too big, then they're too rough. But I've eaten a lot of channel cat in my day. But actually, my favorite is crappie and bluegill. They
Hmm.
taste so good. Fried, you can't beat it. My grandma would get out her old. We'd be out there fishing for bass in the boat and laughing at her. I got a big one. I got a big one. And she'd sit on the shore and reel a little Zebco 33, and she'd be sitting on a bucket and she'd throw the fish in there. And at the end of the night, she'd fillet them all and we'd eat all her bluegill, but we'd laugh at her, because she thought they were huge. But man, they were good. She put cornmeal and salt and pepper and firing up and the little what are those skillets that are already they have the handle where it turns on, everything's in contained in those little skillets,
Okay, yeah,
electric skillet, and
yeah,
she'd make pour some oil in there and we thought it was the greatest thing in the world.
yeah. My the last video that I put out on my YouTube channel, I caught some trout and I smoked it and made like a smoked trout dip.
uh,
But every smoked trout recipe I was looking at, it's like 2 cups of brown sugar, and I'm just like,
that is way too
I
much.
was like, yeah, it's for the brine, and then you just let it in that, you leave it in that brine for like 24 hours. I'm just
Sure.
like, I was like 2 tablespoons, but after it came off the smoker, it was like there's like a little bit of a trout taste after, which is kind of trout, kind of salmon vibe.
Sure.
But I was like, this is. I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, this is ham. Like I made like trout ham. That's what it
That's
tasted like. It was
awesome.
just. I was like, it was sweet. It was smoky. Um, and then I made it
Yeah,
into
smoked trout is
dip.
incredible. In the brine, the big key is doing equal parts. Like if you do 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, then you want to do 2 tablespoons of salt, so you do them equal.
Hmm.
Because I used to brine everything, turkeys and stuff, for Thanksgiving with my barbecue business, and the big key was just making sure you do equal parts. But yeah, there's a place up in Cleveland. It was on Guy Fieri's Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives, and they do like smoked trout guacamole or something that looks
Interesting.
insane, man. I'm like, that looks, with avocados and that kind of fatty, because that trout's not very fatty, but adding that fat in there, I bet it'd be incredible. So
I
anyway,
think that would be good. I don't know. I like trout's not my favorite fish to
uh
eat.
huh,
It's probably like perch or walleye, honestly.
yeah,
Have you ever had walleye?
yeah, I have. I like walleye. Bluegill and crappie taste very similar to walleye to me. My one friend, Kurt, and he's my best friend. He lives in Wisconsin now. And when he was a kid, his dad they'd go, they live near Erie, and they'd do walleye, and he'd bring him home. And he's like, Dad, man, my throat hurts. I can't eat this fish. And his dad's like, just tough it out, Kurt, da da da. Turns out he was allergic to freshwater fish. So as he got older, he realized he's allergic to it. And so, like his dad, that again, Generation X, right? Just tough it out, son. You're fine. He's actually allergic to it.
Yeah. Dad, it hurts when I eat this. Oh man, that's
He's like, my throat hurts. I get scratchy. I don't feel good. Dad. He's like, you're fine. Generation X, baby.
yeah.
So anyway, well, as far as my stuff goes, all my stuff's up on my shop. I've got the Big D. This is my cardinal. This is the one of my newer birds, and I've got my famous. This is probably the one I'm most famous for is the drowning monk. That's the Big D, and then I have it in the little D's as well. So those will all be at my New England show, and everything I have is up in the shop. I love this gill. It has this crazy pattern on it. It's red. It's got like a flash in it. It's like a gill pattern. But those are my little D's and my dragons. All my stuff is going to be up in the shop. And then new stuff comes out at the New England show. So I'll say, do you travel to shows or anything?
No, just with
Probably don't have time, do you?
no, like my I work in corrections, and so my job is very
Oh,
uh
yeah, yeah.
demanding and
Yeah, if I
stressful.
send, I could probably send. I'll do maybe a video intro or do something for you if you want, and you can just kind of go around the show if you want, and I can send it to you. You can post it if you want.
Yeah, that'd be cool. We could do something like that because I was talking to my girlfriend and I was like, well, I wanna do this. I wanna go to like the different shows and go and do something, but also you know be a lot of fun, and that's it's something for me. But while we're in that area, we can do something for you as well. So
Sure.
going
Yeah, like
to the
at that
universe and
show,
stuff like that.
the one in New England, Lanciotti's there. Um, let's see, um, Bullshad. What's his name?
Mike.
Mike Buca's there. Wayne Swimbait Universe is there. There's a bunch of the garage made swimbait guys. I don't think KGB's there. I use his stuff a lot for pond fishing. I use his Gillapi a ton when I fish. I really like his Gillapi KGB stuff and the his ABS one that just came out, the Chad Shad, that I paint those like bluegills, and they do really well because
Hmm.
that quick kind of pop and jerk, similar to the TK a little bit, but the TK is so versatile, man. I one of the things I've done with the TK is I'll take the lip off of it and like do this thing where it comes across the surface and smack it and pop it, and I catch a lot of bass that way with the TK with the lip off on those low floats. Have you ever done that, taking the lip off?
I've always fished it just like a big jerk bait.
Uh huh.
It's like giving it some real quick like reels or like some jerks of the rod tip. I've always fished it like that, and I've had some decent success that way. But
Yeah,
yeah,
try take it when it's, you probably want to wait for springtime, but if you take the lip off, you can get it near the surface and it'll dive and shoot and kind of, go all over. And it looks like a fleeing fish. I do really well with that too. But yeah, so I can film at the show and send you a little video, just kind of go through the booths and stuff. It does really well. The classic, I don't know if I'll be free. I think it, from my impression, you don't. The guys who did it last year, Wayne and those guys, they didn't stop. They had a line like forever. So, but yeah,
No, for sure. That'd be really cool, dude. And with uh with your website or whatever, what's your website?
it's www.johnjons JONJONS outdoors at John John's Outdoors .bigcartel.com. John John's Outdoors .bigcartel.com. And it's linked in my Instagram as well. So yeah, I need to get rid of that big cartel address, but I don't know how to do it. I'm terrible with the technical stuff. I'm good with my hands and all that stuff, but I'm not. My son's better at the technical stuff than I am. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, but
Well,
yeah, here's. Did I show you this one? This is kind of the proto of the wake. Did I show you that?
yeah, yeah, we did see it a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the three piece, the blue collar one. So anyway, I think that's about it, buddy. And I'll send
Yeah.
you some links with all the guys I know, and hopefully you can connect with Chris and Andy, um, and Whit. They're amazing guys. So
Yeah, heck yeah, dude. Well, this was sweet. I feel like we covered a lot. We even went
yeah, Game
like
of Thrones to fishing
side
lures,
tangent.
right?
Yeah.
That's
No,
kind of
and
how they do it. That's what I was thinking. Like, I've never done this before, but I watch Rogan a lot. And the thing I love about it is they don't just talk about one thing. You know what I mean? They're just being real people. You know what I mean? And getting to know each other and connecting. And so that's why I kind of came in with this. I've never done a podcast before, but now I have. So
yeah, yeah.
are you
And
having success with it?
yeah, it's when you stay consistent and you have like really cool dudes on like yourself, like you gain some traction and you get going.
Uh huh.
I don't know if this is gonna be like the Joe Rogan experience where it's a multi-million dollar
Oh my
podcast,
gosh.
but I don't know. It's fun right now.
Hey,
Like,
put it out in the universe, buddy. And you got to start somewhere. I mean, Joe started his basement, man, like with no money or nothing. You know what I mean? And I think it's kind of like me with the baits. I never thought I'd make fishing lures. Who would have thunk? You know, it's just. But now I'm in it, and I love it, dude. Like I love it. Like and am I ever gonna make $1 billion? No, I'm not. I'm just. But I love what I'm doing and connecting the community. That's worth more than the money part. The money comes, you know what I mean? If you love what you do and you do a great job, and I feel like I do, the money comes, man. It shows up. You know what I
mhm.
mean? So I think you do great. You're a good interviewer, and you've got a good story. So I think just run with it, buddy. If you love it, why the heck not, man? You
Yeah,
got the time and the energy.
yeah, exactly. And I don't know. Part of it is just like this week. It's typically I upload on Mondays, but with other stuff going on, it's like, well, this is falling to the side because it has to. But yeah, just staying
Sure.
consistent with the podcast. I like doing the YouTube videos, and when you stay consistent with that, you see growth. And part of this podcast is like it's like, dude, there's people in Australia listening to it. Like that's
That's
wild.
so cool.
Yeah, and like it's kind of all over the world. You can see the different stats, and
That's insane.
yeah, it's really cool.
I'd love to connect with some of these Australian guys. They got those Murray cod out there, man. Those
I,
things are insane. Have you seen those things?
I have, and
They're
uh,
like giant bass, man. They look like a giant largemouth.
yeah, it's in the works to have somebody. Uh, I got this guy from Australia that's gonna come on, and he makes baits for Murray cod and barramundi. So it's
Uh
in the
huh.
works.
Yeah, I want to get my crawlers out there. I've got my big D, and I want to put a like a jitterbug lick. They call it a cod creeper or cod walker or something. It's basically just a giant jitterbug, and they're like this big. and my big D's built that way, so I just need to put a lip on it. But I'd love to get in that industry because just seeing this, I'd love to just go out and catch a bunch of those things. They're massive, man.
Yeah, they got that one place down in Florida that has barramundi,
Uh
and
huh.
just that looks insane. Just because they're so, I don't know if it's like because of they're in that pond setting that they're ultra aggressive, or they're just built like that. But
Yeah,
it's
I
really
think
cool.
those are cool. And the other one I'd love to fish. I don't know if I ever get to do it. Is peacock in the Amazon,
Hmm.
like peacock bass. Oh my gosh, man, those things are incredible. My
Yeah,
buddy went and just seeing those things explode and hit and just they're just like sharks, man. They're incredible. So
yeah.
that's my two big ones. I'd love to do Murray cod, I'd love to do peacock. I know
Hmm.
Florida has some, but not like they do in the Amazon. Those things go 25, 30 pounds sometimes. Some giants out there. So,
Yeah,
well, keep at it, Wyatt. I'll make sure I share everything. And then if you need any help with your baits through the process, just let me know. And I'm willing to help. I can do molds for you, whatever you need.
yeah. Heck yeah, dude. That'd be sweet. Well, appreciate you coming on, and it's great talking with you. We'll end it right there.